You sent me a text message recently as we were processing through some of these demands that life was squeezing you through and filters that were wanting to chop you in half at times. And we sat and spent several hours together walking through those things. I'm going to read your text message, and I think I'll just have you vamp on what was going on in your mind and your heart as you were sending this to me. So let me read it. Roger, your single email exercise to answer questions about how I view money has put me on a glorious path into my subconscious where I'm deleting bullshit stories and replacing them with beautiful ones. This is a major moment for me, and your availability and wisdom has been a transformative chisel. I love that language.
Oh
Thank you,
man.
Roger. So unpack that for us, if you would.
Oh my goodness, that's a wonderful thing to unpack. And I'm a communicator, so even getting a little bit more raw with my wording is important. That's required at times for me to be able to communicate how I really feel, and that is, um, there were some things that no matter what was coming my way, up or down, I was seeing some patterns that were causing strain in my life personally and also in my family, and it mostly had to do with money. um, that meeting with you was a place where I'm doing all these things. The Facebook version of me looks amazing. I've got the resume. It seems like everything's going right. But inside, I'm on a hamster wheel, number one. Any money I'm making is coming into me and going right back out. It's very frustrating. Not on Lamborghinis and nice cars, but just something was going on that made me feel like I needed to stay in lack or at ground zero with my company, whether it was any plus thing that happens, everything goes back in the company. No margin, no savings, run for broke, move forward. And it brought me to a place that I couldn't do anymore. And you had mentioned something in the beginnings of those conversations about a cave. You used this analogy about a cave and getting into that cave. And to me, that became my subconscious. And it started with, and money's a big one. I know for a lot of entrepreneurs and people like me, it's a big one because it represents so many different things, different people, but all of it is sustenance. You sent an email to me with 5 questions, and I brought it to the meeting because I wanted to make sure if you asked me this question, I brought it back. And you sent me this thing, and it says, people with money are, answer the question. And then the next one was, people makes, or money makes people, you answer the question. And then the next one is, I'd have more money if, and you asked me to answer the question. And then my dad thought money was, and had me answer the question. And then the last one was, my mom always thought money would, and you told me to answer the question. This was the beginning of greatness and that glory I talked about in that email you're referencing. I realized there's that first question, people with money are. I had created stories from experiences that I had had since being a little kid, came from a broken home. We were not the rich folks in the family, but there certainly were family members that had money. And I started making assumptions I didn't realize, and I'm coming to realize our stories we all create about our observations and interpretations that are most often not actually the real deal. You can see an accident, two people can see an accident from either side of the road, and their interpretation of what happened can be completely different, same accident. So these stories had built up so much that I think you had called it uh, constipated. Your mind is constipated in some reason, or in some way. I thought you said something like that. But my answers to these questions, Roger, began to show me that I've had stories going on about, like, for example, the first one, people with money are. In my mind, deep down in there, okay, the answer to that was aloof, judgmental, mean, and bad parents. And I started to realize, coming from a broken family, my number one goal is to rewrite that and have a great family. My mind was saying, if you hang on to money and become rich, you're going to be a bad parent. If you hang on to money and become rich, you're going to be aloof. If you hang on to money and become rich, you're going to be judgmental. You're going to be mean. And literally, hanging on to money would do that. My life was staying congruent with what was deep in the cave or deep in that subconscious. That is a huge realization for me that has taken me on a path to go digging. And I don't just mean randomly digging. I am pinpointing and snipering. I am sort of rioting in my mind, if you will, where the stories that are wrong, the stories that don't fit, I'm imagining throwing a rock through the window, but not in a bad way. I'm lighting the buildings on fire in my mind that are the thoughts that don't serve me, so that I can truly go to that level where my strengths are leveraged and my mind is straight to be able to maximize this life, which in my opinion, life is to evolve and to give. If I don't evolve, which is what you've done, you've started this process for me in a deeper sense. I'm not talking about skills or behaviors like a diet or even a habit. This is deeper than those things. This drives all of those things and my ability to sustain those things. So yeah, I can go on and unpack that one, but the answers to the other questions were all transformative for me. And it has begun a beautiful process in my life that is more than just reading through a book, which most of us do, and just find what parts agree with what we already believe and then put it up on the shelf. I think you and I talked about this once. This is a process where I am reveling in the glory of that discovery and leveraging what I'm finding into good things that serve me so that I can evolve strong and I can give to people, give to others. And that's this main business that you're talking about that is 10X and 4X. It's giving. I've transitioned to giving back.